In this lesson, we're going to look at an escape from side control, but in this situation, instead of putting my partner in my guard, that just like we covered in the basic guard work drill, this time I'm escaping to my knees, which opens up the game to a whole lot of other possibilities. Once we're on our knees, we can be shooting the legs and doing lots of things, all fading back to guard, but the way we go to our knees is quite technical. The first thing we would like to do if we can is, if my partner's on side control, is instead of having this hand out here where not only David can attack it and up it and do all kinds of attacks and figure fours on my arm here, if I can arrange to have that hand under his arm, that's called an underhook. Now, it does a lot of things for me. One of the things that it does is it hides it. David can't effectively figure four it, like we've already covered in some of our previous lessons. But what else that my underhook does, it allows me to open that window. You can see by having my hand on his shoulder, I'm actually attacking his elbow with my elbow. And by doing that, that kind of opens David up and lets me walk my legs away and get to my knees. So whenever we have an underhook, let's do it on our knees, head to head here. So if I have an underhook on David, one of several of the things the underhook gives me is, one, it gives me the ability to open up that window and head to his back. It gives me the ability to shove him up higher than me. It gives me the ability to change levels. So the underhooks gives me a lot of advantages. So basically I'm quite reliant upon that in my escape here. So as he's come to side control, I've arranged for my underhook hand to be there. My other hand here is just on his hip. And now what we do is, we bump him up, but as we bump him, we're working on that arm to lift up that side of his body. Now we work around, running our legs away, we get on our knees. We could come up forward and attack him, but what we find is a little bit more effective. If I come up backwards, it's a little bit easier because I'm working out of David's weight and I'm not working into his strength. And if later on we do want to shoot those legs, as we back away to our knees, we get him chasing us, which has got the legs coming toward the shoot. So we're lying down here, we'll do it this way for you. He's on top of me, I'm lying flat, I've gone to my knees. If I come up toward him, he's starting to sprawl, and that's quite difficult for me to attack. If I come up by going backwards, notice he's moving towards me and giving me opportunities to shoot his legs. If he doesn't come toward me, I can either back right out or fade right back to my guard, and we'll talk about that in a much more technical way in future lessons. So once again, just take note that as we escape to our knees, we back off to our knees as opposed to coming forward to our knees. Side control, I've got my underhook. In this case, his hand's on the other side. Well, I can almost ignore it and still do the escape because this arm's not stopping my hip going away. But if we want to clear it to the other side, watch what I do. My hand catches the outside of my leg and I just bump his arm over. See that? My underhook, catching here, lifting his arm up, back to my legs, and we're escaping out to our knees. It's a very, very good escape. The option to be able to go to our knees when someone's in side control is very, very good. But like all other escapes, this is going to be a lot easier if I start to set it up just before he gets there. So as David's coming around to side control, passing my guard, and I know he's going to get side control, that's when I want to be fishing my underhook in. So he lands in side control, but my underhook is already in place for my escape. And that's a lot easier than trying to get that underhook in once he's established his side control.
One of the most, I think, basic error that people make is once they get the underhook, they try to complete the turn while they're still 90 degrees to the opponent. So what's happening is I'm trying to lift up and turn into him, but I haven't done my hip escape, so if he puts pressure down on my shoulder level, on my shoulder lever, he just knocks me back down. So it's important to do what John's doing, is bump up, start to get out and out in alignment with him. So if he puts his weight down on me now, it's not putting my shoulder back. In fact, he's helping me turn onto my stomach and get out. So you don't forget that hip escape, hip escape, hip escape, hip escape, then make your turn and get in alignment with him.